I'm going to reveal how much 100 people with £50,000 worth of premium bonds, which is the maximum you are allowed, won, as well as tell you how to increase your chances of winning £1 million prize without putting more money in. But ultimately, I'm going to be looking at whether premium bonds are worth it. But let's backtrack. How do premium bonds work? Premium bonds are a unique savings product from National Savings and Investments, or NS&I, which means they're 100% backed by the UK government and that any money held in premium bonds is safe, so you can't lose your capital. But instead of earning traditional interest like a savings account, your money is instead entered into a monthly prize draw. Every single pound that you put in premium bonds gets a unique bond number, and these numbers are put into a drawer by NS&I's special computer called ERNIE, which stands for the Electronic Random Number Indicator Equipment. On screen you can see the current prizes available and the odds of winning each prize. The current odds of any single £1 bond winning a prize are 1 in 22,000. The more money you have saved in premium bonds, the more entries you have in each drawer, and therefore the greater your chances of winning a prize. If you have £50,000 in premium bonds, you hold 50,000 individual £1 bonds, and you are statistically expected to win around 27 prizes over a year at the current prize rate. But here's where it's important to understand the reality of holding premium bonds. NS&I advertise an annual prize fund rate, which is currently 3.8% until July 2025, but it's set to drop to 3.6% from August 2025. We'll put a link in the notes where you can find out more about that. But many people assume they'll get this rate on their investment in premium bonds, but that's not the case. This figure is the mean average across the entire prize fund, heavily skewed by a few very large jackpots, or in other words, this is the rate of return you would get if you held every premium bond in existence, and there are approximately 135 billion of them. The reality for most bondholders, even those with the maximum £50,000, is that their median return is lower. It's estimated to be around 3.3% annually. So to explain that, that's different to the average. The median is if you got all of the £50,000 bondholders, lined them up from the person who'd won the least to the person who won the most, and picked the person in the middle, roughly it would equate to they'd made 3.3% in that year. For someone holding £50,000 of premium bonds, this theoretically equates to about £1,650 a year in prizes. But it's important to understand nearly 2/3 of all premium bond holders have never won a prize, according to a Freedom of Information request obtained by AJ Bell. That's the equivalent of just under 14.4 million people having never won a prize. Don't forget, if you don't win a prize, or you win very few of them, then inflation is eroding the spending power of your money. That is a major drawback of premium bonds, and why for most people there are way better options for a return on your money, such as a simple savings account. But what is the reality if you have £50,000 worth of premium bonds? I said I would tell you the experience of 100 premium bond holders with £50,000. Now, the issue I had with this, firstly, it's hard to find 100 people who have £50,000 in premium bond, but it's also hard to find the people who would even talk about it and disclose their winnings. So I went one better. As a mathematician, I created my own version of ERNIE, the computer that randomly picks the winners each month. Here it is on screen. I've called it Cleo after my cat, and it also stands for computer like ERNIE. I'm not sure what the O would be, but if you have suggestions, then do send them in. But what I can do is, for any given size of premium bond holding, simulate what you might earn in a year. So you can see here there's one already on screen where this person's got £50,000, and the list of prizes you can see for each month is shown below, and their overall annual rate of return equates to 3.55%. Now I can keep simulating this, and it isn't the sexiest looking thing you'll ever see, but you can see the next person got 5.25%, so they were lucky. We can keep doing this, and you can see what people get time and time again. This person got 5.85%, and simulating it again, this person has got 2.85% equivalent annual rate of return. So we then ran this for 100 people. We ran it 100 times to see what they would have received hypothetically. This is no different if I'd gone out and got 100 people in the street. I would have probably got something very similar. So you can see on screen here, we had the 100 people, the 100 scenarios of having £50,000 premium bonds. And we listed all the prizes that these people got over the course of a year in total. You can see the list going down there, and it's a very crude way of showing it, but it's about the mathematics. Now, what you can see is that the average rate of return across all of those people was 3.89%. So it was heading towards what the NS&I stated. The median rate of return, so if you put all those people in a line and got the middle person based upon the ranking from highest to lowest, it was 3.5%. The highest prize that someone won was £10,000, and the highest rate of return was 23.4%. But there was somebody who only got the equivalent of 1.75% from their £50,000 investment. But jumping across to Clio, which is our version of ERNIE, if you change the amount invested and put that as £1,000, and then you run the simulation, you start to get very different results. You can see that this person here, for example, well, they would have won anything. And if you keep running the simulation, you end up finding that people with very low amounts of money tend to not win very much at all. And this goes back to my earlier statement about the number of people who've never won a prize with premium bonds in their life. Ultimately, what I've shown you is that premium bonds aren't a great way to make money. And if you have a small amount, they definitely aren't a good way to make money. And inflation is likely to erode the value of your savings. If you ignore those who are attracted to a possible jackpot and people who put money into premium bonds as a gift for children and grandchildren, they hold an attraction really only for the wealthy. And that's because if you've maxed out your ISA allowance, your personal savings allowance, if you have one, and if you have £50,000 in premium bonds, they offer a tax-free way of making a return. And if you're also an additional or higher rate taxpayer, then the rate of return achieved that I've shown on screen for their premium bond holdings could still outshine that on interest from savings accounts, which ultimately is taxable. Also, if you hold large sums of money across a range of banks because you're particularly wealthy, you may have run out of options when it comes to ensuring your money is fully covered by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. I'll put a link in the notes to explain more about that particular compensation scheme. But the fact is, if you want all of your money protected, then premium bonds are 100% backed by government, so that will be attractive. But how do you increase your chances of winning a £1 million prize? Because if you've got £50,000, you can't put any more money in anyway. So premium bonds do offer two £1 million jackpots every month, but the odds of a single £1 bond winning that £1 million prize are a staggering 1 in 64 billion. Now, with your full £50,000 invested, your odds of hitting that £1 million jackpot in a year are still pretty long, and they're roughly 1 in 110,000. I could give you the exact maths broken down, but it would be too mind-boggling and relatively boring. Just trust me on the numbers. Interestingly, we do live in a world where interest rates have been elevated for some time, and where you can comfortably get more than 4.3% interest on an easy access savings account, which is 1% above the median return for someone holding £50,000 worth of premium bonds. If instead you took the £50,000, didn't have it in premium bonds, and you put it into a savings account that made 4.3% interest a year, you would earn that level stated in interest without any prize draw. It's guaranteed, depending obviously on the account's T's and C's. So that protects your money from inflation. It's growing because you will receive the interest. But of course, you would have no scope for winning big because it's a savings account. You could instead siphon off some of that interest you earn a year, equivalent to 1% a year, which is £500, and leave the rest of your interest going into the account so you can benefit from compounding. So you've got equivalent interest rate now of 3.3%, which is the median rate for a premium bond holder. If you took that £500 a year and split it and bought 5 lottery tickets every Saturday for 50 weeks, the odds of you winning a £1 million prize dropped to 1 in 25,000. It's actually 1 in 25,736, which is better than premium bonds, plus your 50k is safe in the bank, and it's actually earning that 3.3% year-on-year interest, and that's guaranteed. Now, I'm not for 1 second suggesting you actually do this, as I don't want to be promoting gambling in any way, shape or form. The hard truth is that lotteries are designed as a negative sum game, and people often, and quite rightly, call them a tax on the poor. But yet, you could argue premium bonds are not far from that, despite being tax-free, because it's the wealthy that extract any real benefit from them. So ultimately, what I'm showing you is that if you want to invest in premium bonds, it's only the wealthy who get the most out of them. For the rest of the people who use them, they're probably going to have their savings much more likely be eroded by inflation. And maybe they see it as a bit of fun or a flutter, but don't be fooled. They're not a great way of growing your wealth. So if you found this interesting, do hit that like button because we put a lot of work into these videos, but also make sure you subscribe to the channel.